On this video, I would like to read the Hebrew Psalter, different passages, and I've entitled it Finding Christ, Christological Hebrew Reading of the Psalms, Finding Christ in the Hebrew Tehillim, the Hebrew Psalms. And I'm following what I find in Luke 24, where Jesus took the Moses, the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Ketuvim, the law, the prophets, and the writings, and found himself. So I've entitled it Finding Christ in the Psalms. I just want to begin, though, with Psalm 1. Actually, Psalm 2 is where I will concentrate, but just to introduce the Psalter. Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halak be'atzat resha'im, u'v'derech chata'im lo amad, u'v'moshav leitzim lo yeshav. Happy is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the mockers. Ki im b'torat Adonai chepso, u'v'torato yegeyu mam v'layla. But his delight is in the Torah of the Lord, and in his Torah he meditates day and night. V'haya ka'et shatul al pegei mayim, asher piryo yetain be'ito, v'halehu lo yebo, v'chol asher ya'aseh yatzlicha. He shall be as a tree transplanted by streams of water, whose fruit it customarily gives in its season, its leaf never ever withers, and all which he does is caused to prosper. Lo chen harsheim, ki im kamotz asher tedefenu ruach. Not so are the wicked, but they are as the chaff which the wind drives away. Al kain lo yakumu reshaim ba'mishpat, ba'chataim ba'adat tzadikim. Wherefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Ki yodea Adonai derek sadikim v'derek reshaim toved. For the Lord knows intimately the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly, or the way of the wicked, shall perish. Two ways, one of the godly, one of the ungodly, and it's interesting to me when I look at the New Testament, Jesus made a division of two ways. He said in the last judgment that all who are in the tombs will arise, some to everlasting life and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So Jesus, I think in a sense, alluded to the two ways and applied that in the Gospel of John. I go to chapter 2 now. This is a plot against God's anointed. It could have been when the Philistines came up against David, but the New Testament, it's read Christologically and applied to Jesus. It reads, Lama rakashu goyim, ule'umim yegurik, yit yatsavu malchei eretz verozanim nosadu yachat, al Adonai ve'al Mashiach. Nenataka et mosrotemo, v'nashlicha mimenu avotemo. Yoshev b'shemayim yischak. Adonai yolag lamo. Yedaber elemo be'apo u'vacharono yevahalemo. Va'ani nasakti malki al Zion har kodshi. Asapra el chok. Adonai amar Elai bani ata, ani hayom yeliticha, she'al mimeni ve'etana goyim nachalatecha, va'achuzatacha afse aretz. Teruim b'shevet barzel, kikli yotzer tenapetzem, va'ata melachim haskilu, yevasru shofetei aretz, Ivdu et Adonai be'yira be'gilu berada. Nashku var penya anof v'tovadu derek ki yev'ar kim atapo ashrei kol hosei lo. Why are the nations in an uproar? And why do the peoples mutter a vain thing? The kings of the earth station themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed one. Let us break their bands asunder. Let us cast their cords from us. The one who sits in the heavens will laugh. The Lord will jeer at them. Then he will speak unto them in his anger, and he will terrify them in his wrath. But I have installed my king upon Zion, my holy mountain. I will declare concerning the decree. The Lord said unto me, My son, you are. I today have begotten you. Ask from me, and I will give the Goyim, the nations, for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. You will crush them with an iron scepter, as vessels of a potter you will dash them to pieces. And now, O kings, be wise, be admonished, judges of the earth, serve the Lord with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish in the way when his wrath is suddenly kindled. Happy are all who take refuge in him. This is a beautiful psalm, and in the New Testament, it was applied to Jesus Christ. We might call this a typically messianic psalm. First of all, we see the cross in Acts chapter 4, the nations raging, and the crucifixion of our Lord Jesus Christ. Then we see that God is determined that he will reign. And so we move on to his coronation day. I will tell about the decree. And the coronation day, this day have I begotten you, is the resurrection. And Paul, by the pen of divine inspiration, spoke that, or by the word of divine inspiration. And Luke, by the pen of divine inspiration, in the book of Acts, applied that to the resurrection. And then finally, all you have to do is ask me, and I'll give you the nations for your inheritance, the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. Jesus is heir of all things, we're told in the book of Hebrews. And furthermore, you will crush the nations with an iron scepter. This could also be rendered, you will shepherd the nations. We could read it as Terem b'shevet barzel, which would mean you will shepherd the nations with an iron scepter, as potters, as a vessel, as a potter's vessel, you shall dash them to pieces. Looking at Revelation 19, where Jesus returns to judge the nation, and the Septuagint is quoted, you shall shepherd the nation. And then finally, he encourages the kings to be wise and to fear and rejoice with trembling. But then he concludes by do homage or kiss the Son. In other words, bow down and kiss the Son. Worship Christ, who is the resurrected King, who is to have authority over all nations at his second coming as he returns as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So this is one of the Psalms that I believe Jesus taught his disciples to find himself in the Tehillim, in the Psalms, and the New Testament then, the apostles, following the teaching of the divine rabbi, applied this in different places to the cross, to the resurrection as the coronation, to the second coming as judging the world someday, and the encouragement to kiss the Son, to bow down before him. Many Puritans concluded their preaching by encouraging their congregants to kiss the Son, that is, to bow down to Jesus. And that would be my encouragement for all of us to worship Christ as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, as the anointed King because of his glorious resurrection.